Spider-Man is one of the most easily recognizable and beloved superheroes of our time, and my personal favorite. So when the Spider-Man game came out for PS4 in September of last year, I was ecstatic. And I wasn't the only one. It received overwhelmingly positive reviews, scoring an 8.7 out of 10 on IGN and an 87% on Metacritic. And if you played the game, it's not hard to see why it did so well. We've never really gotten a great superhero game, and especially not a great Spider-Man game. But for those of you who haven't played it and are on the fence about buying it, maybe I can help you out. So the first thing I want to talk about is the game feel. It's arguably the best part of this game, and if you've played it, you're probably with me when I say that swinging around the streets of New York is incredibly satisfying. Like one of those slime videos that kinda weird me out. Ugh. But seriously, the DualShock 4 controllers make the swinging, punching, sliding, and jumping all feel very real and awesome. The combat is smooth and fast-paced, while giving the player moments to catch their breath. It's close to perfection. Close, but not quite perfect. Sometimes the game will not target onto the right enemies, or the things you have to pick up won't throw properly, and then you die, which is extremely frustrating. But overall, the game has a pretty good game feel, about 95% of the time. Now let's get into the basic plot of Spider-Man. Overall, the basic plot of the Spider-Man game is actually kind of interesting. It shows a balance between Peter Parker as Peter Parker and Peter Parker as Spider-Man. As you switch between these two roles throughout the game, being Spider-Man working for Dr. Octavius in his lab, or Spider-Man saving people from crimes and defeating supervillains, you really get a feel for what it kind of felt like through the movies, with Peter Parker hiding his identity of Spider-Man from everybody and switching in between the two. As Peter Parker, we work for Dr. Octavius, who most of you probably know as Dr. Octo, and also a part-time volunteer at Feast, an organization meant to help the homeless, started by Peter's very own Aunt May. As Spider-Man, he is Spider-Man. He swings around, he takes care of everybody. He saves people from crimes, and overall his main goal as the Spider-Man plot is to take down all the villains that are brought back up. A lot of old Spider-Man villains are revisited in this game, which is really cool, like the Rhino. There are a few new villains, such as Mr. Negative, but there are a lot of old faces too that any classical Spider-Man fan will understand and appreciate. Throughout the game, there are also gangs that come up, such as the Demons and all the thugs and the Fisk employees, but in the end it ends up being Dr. Octo, or Dr. Octavius, who is the final boss. It's actually one of the coolest final boss fights of all time, because a character that we saw as just this beaten down, underwhelming force ends up being the most powerful boss. In all honesty, the boss fight itself isn't that hard or interesting. It's pretty simple and easy. However, just the build up and concept of who we're fighting and throughout the entire game as this person being your friend just really makes this boss fight one of the coolest boss fights I've had in a game in a while. So plot wise, it was pretty cool. I cannot lie. I think the addition of some old faces definitely made me enjoy the main story a bit more than I would have. But without any further ado, let's get into the post-plot things. After completing the main story of the game, there is still plenty to be done around the city. There are 55 backpacks to collect, 16 side missions to complete, including an entire group of side missions involving the villain Tombstone and his henchmen, 47 landmarks scattered about that you need to photograph, 19 different bases to take over, including ones from the Sable Agents, Prisoners, Fisk's Men, and the Demons, 17 research labs to finish the research in, 11 different Black Cat stakeouts that you once again need to photograph, 16 Taskmaster challenges to try and get Ultimate, and a total of 165 crimes that randomly come up while you're swinging around the city. There are also a secret 50 photo locations that you can take after you've beaten the main story. These are not necessary for your 100% completion or even for an achievement, but they are kind of cool for true completionists to get. In the end, the main story of the game only really makes up about 60% of that 100% completion on your save file. So just beating the main game, you really aren't even close to being able to say that you fully completed Spider-Man. All of these things that I mentioned before give you tokens, such as backpack tokens or the landmark tokens, base tokens, crime tokens, all corresponding to what you need to do to get them. With these tokens, you can use it to spend it on getting new suits or upgrades or different gadgets that you can then use in combat or just for style purposes. So overall, there's honestly obviously more post-game content than there really is story content, and it's really enjoyable. In fact, just swinging around the streets of New York finding these crimes and taking them down was one of the most fun things for me when I played through the game the first time. The story was a little bit lackluster in all honesty, and I was a little bit disappointed because it seemed to end so quick, but the post-game content I feel like made up for it and made this definitely worthwhile. Also, Spider-Man is still being updated and having new DLCs being added into the game to add more side quests and missions to do. This keeps the game fresh and new, and even if you want to get it now, even though it's a couple months in, there still might be some new content that we haven't even gotten yet. Overall, despite its flaws, Spider-Man for the PS4 was a fantastic game. It was awesome. We had to wait a while for it, and everybody was super excited, and the wait was well worth it. We got a good Spider-Man game. A good Spider-Man game, just we didn't think it was possible. The game is fun. It feels great. The plot is awesome and fun. There's new characters. There's old characters. The game just feels good. I can't get past this. The game feel is awesome. Swinging around the streets of Manhattan is still incredibly fun. Even though I've beaten the entire game multiple times now, I still hop on and just swing around. The fact that this game is seemingly endlessly fun for me, and it's so fun to just pick up casually or as a story game that you want to play for the point of the plot, just means it's really for any situation. There is countless hours of extra gameplay with the new DLCs and just the extras that are already involved in the game, and the DLC isn't that expensive. It's only $10 a pack, or you could buy the whole thing for $25. Also, the new updates with the new suits and just little things that they add every once in a while just keeps the game fresh and keeps me coming back almost every other day. For a $60 game, and it's pretty good. Overall, I'm going to give this game an 8.5 out of 10 on the soupy scale. And I would highly recommend you check this out if you haven't already bought it. It's $60, which might be a little bit steep, but you can wait till the price goes down and buy it used. But in all honesty, I would buy it for $60. It's definitely well worth the full price. So with that being said, I will see you all in the next video, and have a wonderful day.